Hi there, welcome to the Binary 10 podcast. My name's James Blake, I'm the CEO of Binary 10.
And my name's Steve Smales, and I am the Chief Operating Officer. Welcome to the series of podcasts where we like to talk about all things data migration related.
And also, we'll talk about the human side of running a business, so we hope you enjoy. And well, here we are again, Steve, another
Welcome
podcast.
back.
Yes, welcome back. Really looking forward to this, and a little bit different. I know that we always kick this off because we wanted to promote data migration and talk about all the challenges of data migration, but actually, we did a podcast, didn't we, on the birth
of Binary 10.
Yeah, the birth of Binary 10. And we actually got some really good sort of feedback and questions. And it made us realize that actually people are also interested in, learning a bit from our experiences of basically being a startup, sort of building a business from scratch. And so I think we've agreed that we'll do a bit of a mini series more on, Binary 10 itself and some of the learnings that we've had, and also a bit more insight into the company, and how we operate.
And just how you actually start a business, what to consider when you first start up, and your sort of long-term strategy. And we'll come on to more of the long-term stuff later, but we wanted to talk about when we first started and the initial challenges, didn't we? And what do you need to think about? When you make that decision, we're going to start our own business, what do you actually need to consider?
Yeah. No, so it's going to be good, this. So we're slightly coming off the data migration path, but it's all linked, right?
That'll probably please people, actually, that we're not talking about data migration for a change.
Sure, please some people. Pleases me, just have a little bit of a break for 15 minutes. No, it'll be good to get back to data migration. But no, you're absolutely right. I think, so I'm really looking forward to this series. So I think we'll focus on the startups, like how we've sort of come to be. And then, then maybe we'll delve in on a few more podcasts, maybe get to meet some of the team and have a good chat around that as well. So let's do it. Let's talk about it.
So we did the birth of Binary 10, and we spoke about, what prompted us to think about setting up a data migration specific consultancy. But once we'd made that decision, what were the next steps? So I think you started a limited company, didn't you? So that was the first thing.
No, absolutely. So we did the basics, and we reached out, we registered on Companies House, all those sorts of things you need to do, get a bank account, just establish. It took us a while to come up with the name.
Well, that was the first thing, wasn't it? We spent quite a while discussing the name, wasn't it?
It was. We were talking about. I've got an interest in the universe and the space
and
stars,
me too,
so I wanted something to do with stars.
Well, we were talking about Binary Star, weren't we, initially?
Yeah, Binary Star or Dog Star, because it was the brightest one in the sky, but it didn't really have the right ring to it.
No, exactly. And we wanted I know you specifically wanted a number in the name, didn't you?
Yes.
Because we'd come across that with another company before, and we quite liked that.
Yes, and that's ironic, isn't it? Because yes, we are Binary 10, but actually,
is it?
It's not, is it? Well, we won't tell people what it is. I'm sure you. Let's see if they can work it out. Let's see if they can work it out and come back. But yeah, Binary 10 is kind of a bit of a disguise, isn't it?
Yeah.
In terms of what it really is, but it's just got a good ring to it, and I think that's important. So, funnily enough, that was probably one of the hardest things we did in the first couple of months.
Quite a while.
Just coming up with the name that sort of fit it. But,
and then there was a website, wasn't there? Because we couldn't get the website domain that we wanted initially.
Oh, well, that's another important point, isn't it? That, and obviously for a technology company, IT company, having the right website. And we're a bit unusual, aren't we? Our website, because we're binary10.uk.com.
Yeah.
Because we thought we had ambitions, and we still do, as we breach out into other countries around the world, that we could then pull that into the website so that we have that division. But anyway, lots changed since then, and we'll see what happens. But no, I think I just remember early on that I think both of us didn't want to rush into this. We did it the right way. We didn't want to just throw lots of money and just assume it was going to work. We wanted to sort of approach it a bit organically and just sort of grow it from the start. But so we didn't try and employ lots of people to begin with and do lots of things. We just went step by step. And I think our first biggest challenge was getting our first client, because at that time we were both individually working on projects as our own independent contractors. So I think the first thing we did, we built up that company. We got all the key information locked in, the website built, so we had that kind of foundational build. And then step 2, I think, was client number 1, wasn't it?
That's right. And that came through word of mouth from someone who'd left a project that we'd both been working on, moved to another company, and they got us in to talk to the program management there. And there was a bit of a delay. We thought we were going to be starting in sort of, I think it was October, and then it got delayed to December. That's right. And then they said, actually, we're not going to use you after all. And then it didn't go so well. So about a month later, we were suddenly called back in, and can you start next week? But it's something, when you're starting up a new business, you really do have to consider what is your market and how are you going to get those leads. Is it going to be from referrals like how we started, or do you need a marketing strategy? And we have now got a marketing strategy, but when we first started, we didn't really. It was trying to maybe even apply for jobs, apply for contracts and see if we could get our company in, or to see if we could get anyone who we knew who'd worked with us before to get us a lead. And that's how we got started.
No, absolutely, that's right. And I think that, what I would say to people is, and even though I'm sure, and I know we got lots of things wrong, don't get me wrong, you're not going to win every time, you're not going to get it right. But I think at the core of what we, our kind of, let's call it an informal business strategy, because we didn't have a formal one to start with. Yeah. But I think at the beginning, we were both mindful that it was small steps. And I think I would say at that point, it was all about delivering for our clients.
Absolutely,
it was about building a foundation of trust and building the respect. We weren't getting too arrogant or above ourselves that we could try and deliver 10 projects and just go out, sale, and just win projects and then deal with it. No, absolutely not. We needed to make sure that our kind of, product, our methodology, our tool set, which was a niche market, because data migration sometimes is done by, the big four or systems integrators, or sometimes taken on by the clients themselves. It goes wrong
usually
quite a few
contractors,
times. Yeah, and with lots of different contractors. So we really had to make sure that our product was going to work,
Yeah.
And so I think that's really important to anyone that's looking to start up a business is don't rush into it. Give yourself those first couple of years, in fact, to just focus on your product and what you do best, because
and I think doing it well.
Well, exactly. And I think that was our main thing, and it still is today. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
We have to deliver for our clients, and we have to be, a good supplier. We have to, we want to enjoy it. It's some of our core values that we're really starting to promote now. I think it's put, it set us off right. And even though we're 7 years, is it now? Like 8 years in?
7, yeah, I think. 7, yeah.
And sometimes I think, should we have done more? Should we be bigger than we are? Should we this? But I actually think no. We're going at the right pace, and we're coming into the marketplace and all these different sectors, because that's another important thing as well, right? Is where's your target sector? And for us, it's a good thing that we've got multiple, but it's also hard because it's a lot of different cultures, a lot of different people, a lot of different sort of network areas. So I think that was really important that we took small steps and we prioritized focusing on the client and delivering.
Exactly. I think, particularly because, as we mentioned, because we didn't have like some formal marketing strategy, it was key that we built up our reputation. And once you've got a reputation, then you can do your marketing strategy, because you say, look what we've done. But in those early stages, it's about getting in the initial clients and doing a really, really good job. And then that becomes your marketing, because then you get referrals from other people who on the project you've just worked on. But then you actually start to get testimonials as well that you can then use in a marketing strategy later on. So the key in those early years is just do a really, really good job.
Yeah. And I think be prepared as well. Like, obviously we're sat here now, CEO, COO, which has been a great step recently for both of us. But the reality is, when we started, we were doing everything, you know, and even today, we still sort of hand out in other areas, just because we don't, we're not at the right stage to recruit, bigger teams at yet, and that will come. But, again, it comes back to that point. Don't throw all your eggs into one basket. You mentioned there about how we would still have our own individual contracts, because we still, I've got a wife, I've got kids, I've got to make sure they're secure and happy. And so by doing it gently, it actually enables you to do it better, because you don't have extra worries about, oh God, am I going to put food on the table, money, all that sort of stuff, because that's the bread and butter. So, I think that's definitely worked for us, and it's meant that, we can build up gradually and put us in the position we are today, where we can really accelerate, which we'll come on to shortly.
Yeah, but I think but it's a good point you made there about the risk that you've got a wife and kids to support. You start taking up a new business, it is a risk. So you've got to consider those risks. Absolutely. And that's, again, why we thought we would sort of dip our toes in initially, rather than going full in, great big business plans, business loans, taking on debt, recruiting loads of people. Because you've got to consider you can recruit a load of people, but if it doesn't go well, you're getting rid of people, you're messing around with people's careers. Yeah. So, and you mentioned also recruitment, and that was one of the early challenges for us. Once we got our first client, is we then had to start recruiting. I mean, it was just the two of us initially. We knew we needed extra people for that first project. It was quite a big project.
Yeah.
And again, because we did this sort of organic growth where we sort of tried to grow gradually, it allowed us to focus on getting really good people in, because we only needed 1 or 2 people at a time. We didn't need to suddenly go out and recruit 30 people. If you've got to go out and recruit 30 people in a short space of time, one, it's really, really time consuming. But secondly, you maybe, are you going to get 30 really, really good people in a short space of time? If you're only after 1 or 2, you can pick the best 1 or 2. And that's helped us get the best people in.
No, and our organization, as is many's, it's all about our people.
Yeah.
And, not rushing it so that we give people the time to, when they come in, even if they are, and we've got many, the best in breed when it comes to data migration. But they don't all necessarily know our methodology, know our tool set, and it's so important that we bring them into that and make sure they're comfortable doing that. So absolutely spot on. And I think it's the same in all walks of life, isn't it? About not getting too confident, not getting too, because let's be fair, right at the start we were riding a wave. It was going really well. We were delivering for our clients. People were listening to us. Everyone has a doubt of confidence. Like, I've got this really good thing and I think I'm good at it, but am I good at it? Like, is someone else better? And I think we learned pretty quickly that we were riding this wave. It was great, but you've got to be prepared for things to go wrong. And in our case,
COVID, wasn't it, for us?
Exactly. And, in one way, you can say it wasn't through our own fault. And I appreciate everyone was impacted by COVID, but we had to react for that. I think we were riding a wave of, within the first 2 years, I think we were up to 5 projects.
With another one in
tow, just about to kick off.
Exactly.
And then within the space of 2 months, 3 months, we went down to 1 or something.
Well, we went down to 0 initially, and then 1 came back, didn't they?
And 1 came back. Yeah. And it's just, that was just awful. And that's where you do hit the lows and you think, oh, is this really possible? But you just have to be logical. You have to understand that it wasn't through a fault of our own. It's been affecting everybody. We take the hit, and then we have to go again. So there's almost like a mini rebuild. Yeah. And I think that's really important when you're starting up a business, that things are going to go wrong. Enjoy the good times, but be prepared. I think for when things don't go quite as well. Yeah. And that's where honesty is important as well. Like you mentioned there about recruitment and people. So all our people, we don't hide that. Obviously, we want to see we know what we're talking about. We're good, but we're not like a Big Four, or we don't have 20,000 employees or 30 years experience, and that's difficult, isn't it, to try and convince people that you do know what you're talking about, even though you might not have, you individually, we have that wealth of experience, but I don't think as a company at that stage we did.
No, absolutely, we were a startup, weren't we? And you've got to convince people that it's a startup that's going somewhere and isn't just going to fly by night and is going to be finished in 6 months' time.
Exactly. And I think, and being honest with the people that we employ as well, to say, look, we want you to come on board. We're, this is where we're at in the growth of our business, and be honest with them that actually, even our contractors, that, this might only be short term, we're going to do our best by you and we'll try and get you on more projects, but we can't guarantee it. Yeah. And I think they really appreciated that, and appreciated that open and honesty, that they might look at us as like, oh, they're the boss, we got to do it. But actually we can just talk to them like people and just be honest. And then I think that puts everyone at ease. So I think it's getting that balance right of complete honesty and transparency, but also with your client as well, because I know it's very easy to sell them the world when you might not necessarily have it. And I think you've just got to get the balance right. But sometimes you don't want to be completely honest, because then it might not really explain to them what you're about, or they might get nervous. So for me, it's just about getting that balance right, but focusing on the client and delivering. And I think that really helped us in those first 3-4 years to set the foundation. And then you start, and then I think we move on, don't we? We move on to kind of the next phase, which is we've got to grow. We're kind of at that stage where we're sort of still a startup, because we've got, only a couple of employees. We've got lots of subcontractors. But all of a sudden, the administration of HR, the administration of finance, the administration of projects was getting too much for us, wasn't it? We just couldn't cope with it.
Yeah, I mean, just in the early days, it was me and you, and then we got sort of contractors in to help out. But then once you start to get multiple projects, then it becomes a lot more difficult. So that's probably something we need to talk about next time. And as you said then about the next level of growth, we actually, we're just overloaded and we need to start getting other people in to help manage the business. Yeah, no, brilliant. So, no, I think that was really good. God, it took me back a little bit and, reminded me of some of the journey. Halcyon days.
Oh, I know, absolutely. But no, I look forward to the next one then. But I agree, let's do that. On the next podcast, we'll take everyone through that next phase of the journey, which we're sort of going through at the moment, which is how we is how we grow and transition into what we call more of a small to medium sized organization, and the business strategy that we have for the next 5 years. So I look forward to that one. Fun. Yeah, I look forward to that. But no, thanks, Steve, and see you next time.
See you next time. We really hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you for joining our podcasts.
And if you want to see more, please like and subscribe.